just I get into just a lot of gratefulness and being appreciative of what you have in combination with wanting more. So I talk to a lot of people that that just aren't happy. They're not happy with their job. They're not happy with the school they went to. And you have to understand everything happens for a reason. Make the best of your situation. There are a lot of people who wish to be in your shoes.
Hmm.
So be grateful for what you have. It's still good to strive for more. And I go into details of setting goals and how to hold yourself accountable for your goals, how to leverage your network to help push you and support you to achieve your goals. But I think it's very important, one, to just be grateful for what you have, and then two, striving for more and celebrating those wins, big wins, small wins. Like you said, you talked about this earlier in the podcast, like every little increment helps. And if you're
Yes.
making small increments and improvements over time every day, imagine where you'll be 1 year from now. Imagine where you'll be 5 years, 10 years. It's all about progress. Life is a journey. Wealth is a journey. And you have to understand that these things take time. This isn't going to happen overnight. I think a
Yes.
lot of people think they're just going to go to the store and buy a lottery ticket and then, oh, I'm a millionaire and I'm good for life. And that's not how it works.
Mm-mm.
It's a process. It takes time. Enjoy the process. It takes steps. But if you put the right work in, you will see the results over time.
That's awesome, man. Ibra, I just like the last 3 minutes of what you just said. I just had a conversation with a friend of mine today about like the conversation was how do you keep going when you're on your wealth building journey? And I talked about like having um being grateful for where you came from and the steps that you took to get there, and you need evidence that your process and your journey is working. So look at those little small wins that you're getting and understand that you're one step closer to where you want to be. And you need that evidence. So don't just celebrate the large wins, celebrate the small wins as well. And that's something that I'm working on personally, because I'm the go go go, what's next, what's next, what's next. And you have to slow down and realize where you came from, because you'll end up burning yourself out, and then you'll be in a space of ungratefulness, because you'll feel like you're not where you want to be as fast as you want to be, and all the things. But like there's beauty in the journey, like there's beauty in the process. Like what lessons am I learning from being in this journey, on this process? So hey, 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 family. This is Che Willis coming back with another episode of Wealth is a Journey podcast. Guys, we moving and shaking out here, man. We are 60 plus episodes in the bag, man. We've been doing this for over a year straight, week after week, putting out good information, just being as consistent as possible, and hopefully adding value to your guys' lives, because it's definitely adding value to mine. Before we get started, as always, if you are a first time listener, thank you for joining us today. On this podcast, we talk about faith, family, and finances, among other things. If you are a return listener, thank you so much for coming back. Again, hopefully, we're adding value to your lives and you are just continuing to come back and get more of this information, more of these gems. Now, guys, today, I got a very, very special guest. I have on here Mike Morgan. He is going to give us so many gems on how to go after the bag, increase the bag through the power of networking. So, Mike, thank you so much for joining us today. If you wouldn't mind just giving people just a small snapshot of who you are, and then we're going to jump into it.
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, thank you for having me on your podcast. I love Wealth is a Journey. It's fantastic. So it's an honor to be here. With that being said, my name is Michael Morgan. I have a vast amount of work experiences in corporate. I've had the opportunity to work for companies such as JP Morgan Chase, Amazon, Walmart, Chevron. I lived in many cities, many states across the country. a vast amount of work experiences. I've been very diligent when it comes to my finances. I have a lot of tips, recommendations on how to be good with your finances as well, how to be successful in corporate, how to navigate corporate work life. I just published my first book called The Power of Networking.
Let's go.
Uh,
Let's
Thank you. I
go.
appreciate it.
Yes.
And it gets into, I mean, the core of it is the importance of building and maintaining networks, how to do so, how it helps with your success in your career, how it helps in just your personal life on top of your career. If I wasn't able to build up my network, I don't believe my finances would be where it is today. So it's important to have those connections, to have people that can point you in the right direction and provide the right opportunities for you to build that wealth. It also gets into details on how to navigate workplace challenges and things of that nature. But there's a lot of great gems within the book. So I hope you go out and support it. I'm excited to share my knowledge on this podcast as well.
Yes. Yes. This no, Mike, this is good, man. And not and we're not just supporting you. We're helping you support yourself because there's so much information in this book that's going to help you on your networking journey because I believe that you can't do everything on your own and I believe this conversation is going to be very very important because I think the old school mentality is for you to grind and get it from the muscle and all the nice little buzzwords that people like to say. And it's basically pride, just saying, hey, I did this on my own. And I believe that you can do so much more and go so much further if you're doing it in partnership with somebody who you met or somebody who can help you in your business, whatever the case may be. So guys, buckle up, man, because we are going to get into it because this is a very, very important conversation if you plan on building wealth. Because like getting information from other people that can help you on your journey, that's what it's all about, man, not doing it by yourself. So Mike, you wrote a book and we're going to get into that. Well, why don't you kind of give us like the backstory of why you felt like it was important to get this information out there to people regarding networking?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, I know I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for the help and support of my network of family, friends, colleagues, mentors. A lot of people looked out for me and answered my questions and shared tidbits. Like you said, nobody knows everything. And when I graduated from college, I was still trying to figure a lot of things out, and a lot of people took the time and effort to help me to bring things full circle. I like to give back as well. I've mentored several people. When any type of friends, colleagues reach out for advice, I'm willing to share. When a friend of a friend reaches out, someone that's connected through 6 degrees of separation, I'm willing to help out. Even there are people who reach out to me on LinkedIn who I don't know for anything. They look at my profile, they seem impressed, they want to ask me questions, and I try to help out as many people as I can.
Yeah,
There's only so many hours in the day. There's only so many phone calls I can take and Zoom calls. At a certain point in time, so many people had reached out to me for advice and tips.
yeah.
Uh, I felt as though I had a vast amount of knowledge that people were looking for. And that kind of sparked the ideas. Why don't I start writing down my recommendations, my thoughts, my tips, my advice? And slowly but surely, I started putting together the book, and now I've been able to get it to completion.
That's awesome, man. And I think, man, I can't say it enough that this is going to be a very, very important conversation. And I say that because a lot of African Americans anyway, we don't see people who look like us in high positions, right? And me in corporate, I'm saying. And for
Yeah.
me personally, um when I was a young person in corporate trying to figure it out, like we had a hustle and grind mentality. We had to grind to get our way to, to make our way up to the top or whatever the case may be. And that was enough for me. Like your numbers spoke for themselves. It wasn't necessarily it was a little bit about relationships here and there, but it wasn't really about relationships. It was about, can you do the job? But then it kind of switched to, who do you know? Not what do you know, can you do the job? Did you ever face that in your career, and how did you figure out, like, yo, I gotta maybe turn a little bit instead of working so hard, maybe I gotta network a little bit along with the hard work to get me where I want to go? Because I think that that's tough
Mhm.
for us.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I would say I figured that out pretty early in my career.
Okay.
So exactly what you're talking about. You grind as much as you can. You're putting in the work. You're showing the results. Hey, I was able to save this many $1 million because of my efforts and the projects I worked on. I was able to generate this much more revenue in the efforts that I'm working on. But at the end of the day, if you don't have the right connections and haven't built the network, it'll only get you so far.
Mm,
So as an example, and I think this is a pitfall that a lot of people kind of fall into. A lot of people just assume their manager is going to manage their career, and
yeah.
that is incorrect. You own your own career, so your manager should be your biggest advocate. But at the end of the day, when it comes to the end of the year and companies are doing their year-end review and performance rankings for individuals, when they're discussing who's getting promoted, your manager may not even be in the room.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it may be 10 to 20 leaders that are making a decision for an organization of 400 people. And if you don't know who those players are, and if they don't know who you are, when it comes to discussing your ranking and your ability to get promoted, you won't be moving up. So there could be someone in the company who may not be providing the same results as you, but if they've networked better than you, and those managers know who they are, and they've discussed the value they bring to the company, those are the people that are going to be moving up. So I'm not, and I'm by no means am I saying don't do your job. At the end of the day, first and foremost, you have to do your job, but you
Facts.
have to market yourself. You have to network. You have to network both vertically and horizontally. You know, network with your colleagues. Like I said, you can't do everything on your own. You don't know everything. So build those relationships to help you do your job and understand the scope of the team and the function and responsibilities. But you also have to network up and understand who those leaders are, express your interests. If you want to get promoted, you have to let people know. If you don't say anything, they just assume that you're happy where you are, and they'll start giving those opportunities to other people that are speaking up. So network, make sure they know who you are, talk about the things that you're interested in, what goals you have, why you want those positions. That's what's going to take you to the next level. And when I started taking those steps and make sure I was building my network, that's what really helped me propel me in my career.
Are you tired of living paycheck to paycheck? Are you tired of using your credit cards as an emergency fund? Are you tired of getting stressed out anytime you think about money? If the answer to any of those questions is yes, I'm here to help. My name is Che Willis, and I help families living paycheck to paycheck live the life that they want to live through budgeting and investing. And I understand the word budgeting may be scary. However, we're trying to take the fear out of that word. All we're doing is telling our money where to go, as well as reducing our expenses and taking that money, marching it into the marketplace, and making us some money babies. That's all we're doing. So if you need help, please go to wealthisajourney.com. Again, wealthisajourney.com. There are free resources on there for budgeting tools. There are digital products on there to help you on your investing journey. And there's one on one coaching. So if you need help, go to wealthisajourney.com today. I look forward to seeing you soon.
That's dope, man. That's really good information. And I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I'm a little hard headed, man, because I at years ago was in my head that my hard work would speak for itself still, and I know better because I've talked to, shout out to my guy Eric. He's a mentor of mine at the company that I work for, and he gives me so much valuable information as far as like networking and, hey, you got to talk to this person, hey, you got to talk to that person. And when we first like started talking, which was many, many years ago, I'm like, I'm not trying to hear none of that, man. My work's gonna speak for itself. And then I started to see that the work is not just gonna speak for itself, bro. You got to get out of your own way, and you got to network so people know who you are. You got to do a good job. Your numbers are only gonna speak, but so much. But do they like you? Can they trust you? What type of relationships have you built? So my question to you is, somebody who is in their own way, like I was, how would you recommend that they get out of their own way by starting to network if they feel like their work is supposed to just speak for themselves? Like how do you get past that?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing that I would say is you have to think about the big picture.
Yeah.
So obviously, like I said, work comes first. You have to have results. So you have to show, hey, this is my scope, and this is how I've been successful, and these are the results I've provided to the company. This is the value I've added. But at the end of the day, if you want to move up the corporate ladder, if you want those opportunities for different positions, if you want to eventually get to a people manager role, you need to build that network. So if you think about the end result, this is a part of the job. Don't think of this as something that I can do. It's optional. Let me just focus on doing the work. If you consider it a part of your job and it is what is needed to get to that next step, that's when I think people will get out of their own way. But for some reason, there's just a big misconception where people don't think that networking is necessary or that it adds value. And that's to me, that is a big mistake. Like it's something that you have to do. Even
Yeah.
even now, my role is fully remote. And I think with all the changes that have going on over the past couple of years, where people are working more hybrid or remote roles, um, I I think networking has kind of been lost
Yeah.
because we're not always physically in the same office. We're not always physically in the same location. Um, I think networking is more important now than ever. Like I regularly schedule meetings with senior leaders at my company on a monthly basis just to touch base, catch up, let them know how things are going in my personal life, let them know how things are going at work, let them know what I'm striving for, what I'm looking for next. And this is just a way to have them think of me top of mind. When new opportunities pop up in the company, I've already let them know the things I'm working on. I already let them know what I'm passionate about, what I'm interested in, what next steps that I want to take. And when those opportunities arise, I will be the first in mind because I'm constantly speaking with them. And even though I'm in a fully remote role, I make the effort to go to headquarters regularly and see people face to face. And when I'm in headquarters, I'm setting up meetings all day, and I'm setting up lunches, and I'm setting up dinners. And when I'm setting up meetings during the day, this is a good way for me to get work done and us do deliverables face to face in the same meeting room. And when I'm going to lunch and when I'm going to dinner, I'm building relationships and I'm getting to know them as individuals. They're getting to know me as individuals. But I mean, I live in Austin. My headquarters is in San Francisco. Already this year, I've been to headquarters 3 times. I'm actually flying over there next week. But it's important to me to have that face to face. You can only build relationships so much over Slack, over Zoom. At a certain point in time, it's good to just sit with somebody and just have open discussions for an hour, 2 hours, and get to know them. And that will really set you apart.
That's really good information, man. And I think also we get in our heads. I know me specifically. So if I'm thinking that somebody else out there who's watching or listening is thinking this as well, that they're so busy, they don't have time to talk to little old me. So it's a waste of time for me to reach out. I'm not saying I think that now, but I did think that before. But I know that from talking to people and mentoring people as well, that people of influence, let's just say a higher up in the company, a director, a VP, whatever the case may be, they want to give you this. They want to give you as much information as possible because they feel like, good for you to want to be in my position or be in a higher position in the company. So good for you for reaching out. So now that you've reached out, I'm going to give you as much information as possible. I want to help you get to where you want to go. Do you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. First and foremost, I think a lot of people are genuinely honored. Like
Yeah.
if I reach out to somebody and I say, "Hey, I really admire the work that you do. I'm impressed with the level you're at. I want to get to that level too. I'd love to get your thoughts and pick your brain." I think a lot of people feel it's like, "Oh, wow, this person's reaching out to me and they striving to get to the same position as me." Like I feel honored that they want to get my knowledge and tutelage. A lot of people are willing to share.
Yep.
It's just a lot of people are scared to ask. So I
Yeah.
mean, if you're willing to ask the right questions, they're willing to open up. And then secondly, as a senior leader in a company, I want the company to be successful. If the company is successful, it's only going to make things better for myself. Most of these companies are giving stocks and options and different packages. And if
Yes.
I can help someone else in the company and help them be successful and help them add more value to the company, the bottom line of the company improves and it helps myself in the end of the day. So, I mean, the combination of the two, generally, it is very rare that I've seen a situation where I've reached out to someone for tips, knowledge, guidance, and they weren't willing to reach out, regardless of level. I've reached out to people, directors, VPs, and at all levels, people are willing to help me. They've hired you for a reason. They brought you to the company for a reason. They want you to be successful.
Yeah.
So there's no reason why they would say, no, go figure that out on your own. It's like, hey, how can I make sure you're successful? How can I make sure you're at this company for a long period of time? And how can I make sure you reach your full potential so that you can help this company go to the next level?
Sure. So when you're having these conversations, I think it's good to warm up to that person before you have dinner with them or go to lunch or whatever the case may be. So if you're having those conversations on Zoom, you're getting to know these people, VPs, directors, and so forth. So when you do go to lunch or dinner, you already have a rapport and you can have a conversation without it being weird. Because when you're first going out with somebody or going to lunch with somebody and you don't really know each other, then it could be weird. You got get those awkward silences and so forth like that. So how would you what are some things that you would say that would be some good icebreakers for somebody who's trying to reach a level in their company? They may be an entry level person and they're trying to make it to a director or manager level. What are some things that you would say to reach out and network up? What would some maybe three things that you would say that would be good as far as reaching out and getting those lunches or a conversation started?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So for one, I'm really big on learning and development. So a big part of learning is on the job learning. But another aspect of learning is through trainings, is through mentorship. So one of the big questions I like to ask people when I meet with them is, hey, do you recommend anybody at the company that I should meet with that could potentially be a mentor if they're not, willing to be a mentor? I ask them if there's any specific documents I could read, any trainings I could take. There's, trainings on LinkedIn, on Coursera, Udemy. There's so many different platforms. I'm a avid reader. I read nothing but business books for finance to help me with my financial planning and my financial acumen, business books to help me be more effective at work. I ask people all the time when I meet with them, like, hey, what book are you reading? Do you recommend any books? Are there any? And so these are things where I can continue to learn and develop on top of the learning on the job. If they're recommending training courses for me to take, if they're recommending certifications for me to obtain, if they're recommending books for me to read, I feel like these are good icebreaker questions where I can get an understanding of some of the courses and mentor advice from mentors they've received, and they can recommend that to me from a learning and development standpoint.
Hmm.
So that to me, that's one easy icebreaker. I also like to ask people just about their career path. You'd be surprised. Everyone's career path is different. I think a lot of people have this conception where you start your career and it just goes perfectly in a straight line.
Yep.
And just but people have to understand that sometimes you have to take a step back to go take a step forward, or take a step back to take two steps forward, or make a lateral move. So, having those conversations with people and understanding how they navigated their career, to me, that's extremely interesting. And that can get into deep conversation. I mean, I network with some of these leaders that have 10, 20, 30 years of experience in the industry. So when you ask them how they navigated career, they may have a wealth of stories of different cities, different countries, different roles. They may have pushed themselves. Hey, I had a background in supply chain. I wanted to try out finance for a while. I made a jump over to finance, and then maybe I worked my way back to supply chain. But asking questions about how they navigated their career, I think that's critical as well. And then just in general, I always like to just ask, how do I hit the ground running? Like, especially when I'm new in a role and new in a company,
Mm-hmm.
I want obviously want to add as much value as quickly as possible, and show the company they made the right decision of bringing me in. Um, so like to pick people's brains, but I also before I before I jump off the deep end, it's also good to crawl before you walk.
Yeah.
So you have to learn, you have to understand why things are set up the way they're set up. Why is this process done this way? And when you have that background and understanding of why things are done a certain way, how they're done, then you can start to question where you see there's opportunities for improvement. But without that background knowledge, what I've seen is a big pitfall. A lot of people get into a role, and in their first week, second week, like, oh, we should do this. Oh, we should do this. They don't realize we've already tried that, or we can't do something because of legal ramifications. We can't do something because of the financial cost, but
Yeah.
they haven't even asked the right questions. And this is where you can really pick people's brain, and these are good icebreakers where you can understand, okay, why are things done this way? How is this set up? And then you can really, once you understand the background, then you can really start to add value.
That's awesome, man. And people, what I'm finding is that people interviewing people, and just talking to people, people love to talk about themselves and how they've done something, especially if it's adding value to you. So I think it's good to ask those questions and pick their brain because, at the end of the day, we're all people and we're trying to go somewhere. And like you said, if you know that I'm trying to move up in the company, I'm going to invest my time and my energy into you because you can be a future leader that's going to help raise the stock price and basically put more money in my pocket. So why would I not invest in you? Uh Now this leads me to like the awkward moment thing. Like so you're new in the company and you're an introvert. I was once an introvert, and I thought it was super weird. Just my personal opinion. It was super
Okay.
weird of me to talk to people that I didn't know, and I just felt like awkward and so forth. So how does somebody, that introvert person, get over that to get to where they want to go?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll be honest with you, even when I first started corporate, I felt that I was an introvert.
Yeah,
Uh, in my opinion, in order to be successful in your career, sometimes you have to push yourself outside of your comfort zone.
yeah,
So you can take small steps. You don't necessarily have to just go all the way off the deep end immediately. But as an example, a small step, maybe I set up something small within just my team.
mhm,
So if I have a team of 5 to 10 people, networking shouldn't be that awkward with your initial team.
correct.
So, speak with your manager, see if you could set up some type of team lunch, team dinner, and you can get a little bit more comfortable talking with a group of 5 people, 10 people. And if you're comfortable in those type of situations, that should build up your confidence where maybe the next time you go get coffee in the break room and you see somebody you've never seen before, hey, let me start a conversation. I don't know who this person is. I don't know what the role is. let me kick off a conversation. Just ask them how their day is. Something small.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a 30-minute conversation. Hey, how you doing? I haven't seen you here before. My name is Mike. You don't know what doors that may open, and then maybe start to push yourself to go to events.
Hmm.
So most companies have employee resource groups. They throw different events. That may be a good opportunity for you to go and kind of push yourself and try to meet new people. You can go to conferences. Conferences can span for its specific industry, and you can meet other professionals at other companies within your industry. But I would say start with baby steps where you can do something small with your initial team and start to build up confidence talking to new people and building those relationships. And as you feel more comfortable and you start to realize there's nothing really to be afraid of, you
Nope.
know, yeah, it's like I just feel like a lot of people are in their own heads and just think these worst case scenarios, and this nothing bad will come from having a conversation with your peers, your colleagues. If anything, it it makes the work that much more enjoyable. When
Yeah.
you start building relationships with the people that you work with, you you start to realize you spend a lot of time at work. And when you start actually building relationships and friendships and making it genuine, you're going to work every day becomes more fun because you like the people you work with. They're your friends. And so not only will it help you with your career because you'll start meeting people that can help you navigate and help you get things done and show you the direction of where you need to work on. But it'll help you move up within the company as well, and it'll make you happier. So there are
Yes.
just so many benefits of building those relationships. But yeah, I would say really just start off small, build that confidence, get yourself to realize like there's nothing really to be afraid of.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of hit the ground running from there.
Bro, that's a really good point that you made. Because my one of my things is I started this podcast over a year ago, right? Before I started it, I was scared to death. I was scared of judgment. I was scared of my fumbling over my words and all the things that come along with just basic fear. You try to talk yourself out of it. But I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do it scared. I'm going to do it ugly. And then once I realized when I was into maybe episode 3, 4, I was kind of breaking out of my shell a little bit. I realized that it wasn't that bad, and I didn't die. So it's the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's the same thing. So every thing that I go through, I always equate it to when I was scared to do something and how I took a small step and got better and got better. And then I look back and I'm like, yo, I'm so much further than where I was before. And it wasn't really that bad. So I think taking the small steps, and that's one of the things that I encourage people to do on this podcast regarding their finances, regarding just getting out of their shell, just little tweaks here and there, little increments here and there. And then you'll look back and you'll be like, oh man, this was not as bad as I thought it was. So
All right.
when you were talking about that, I thought about that. But you talked about networking up, networking sideways. Um, One of the things that helped me in my wealth building journey was networking down. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I realize it now that we're having this conversation. So I'm 21 years old. Yeah, no, I'm 20 years old, 21 years old. I'm just getting out of college. I'm working at a rental car company. So I'm a trainee at the time. I'm driving around my car prep. So he wants to clean the cars and all this on all the things. And in the story, I'm talking to him and I'm like, yo, I'm trying to buy a house. I'm just having a random conversation with him. Yeah, I'm trying to buy a house. He's like, yo, did you ever think about the first home buyers program? I'm like, no, tell me more. He's a car prep.
Yeah.
But the thing is, he gave me the information that I needed and he saved me thousands of dollars by going through this program. And I was able to buy my first house by having this conversation with him. So I'm saying all this to say that you just telling people what you have going on and just talking to people you never know the information that you can get from anybody. It doesn't have to be a higher up. It doesn't have to be somebody who's working sideways with you, but you can get that information from somebody who works underneath of you. So I just wanted to give my man, he passed away, but shout out to my guy George. Good dude, man, and he helped me again on my wealth building journey. So bought that house and then sold that house and then helped me move into a bigger house and then so forth and so on. So I just wanted to give him a shout out. But do you have any advice about that also, or you want to chime in about networking down, or and you have any stories or anything?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I'll tell you a story. When I used to work at Amazon, um, there was a lot of within every company, there's essentially different levels or pay scale grades. So you could be level one, two, three, and depending on your level, is it dictates your title, dictates your compensation. And same as you, I network laterally, I network up, I network down. And I like I said, I can't do everything on my own.
Yeah.
And I'm new to Amazon when I first start. So I have to learn the business. And I reached out to people that were below me and I did work that technically wasn't at my level.
Mm,
But if I see that there's a gap and like someone needs help, I'm willing to help. And I took out a bunch of people that I worked with that were like levels below me and show my appreciation. And a lot of them said they felt a lot of tension with some people that were above them where they felt like they were too good to do some of the work.
yep.
Like I tell you go do this. I'm this level, you're this level, like go do this. Like no, I'm trying to learn, and part of me trying to learn, I want to do it too. And I see that you're overwhelmed. How can I help you? Like I'm picking your brain. I'm trying to get knowledge from you as I'm new to the company. But as part of networking, networking is a two-way street. So it's
Yeah.
not just, hey, can you give me information? I'm new at Amazon. It's like, hey, how can I help you too? I see you're overwhelmed. Let me jump in here. This will probably help me learn on top of you telling me. Now I'm physically doing the work and I understand how things work in the business. And I felt like that helped me get such great relationships with people that may have been a level lower than me because from what they said, they didn't feel like a lot of people at my level showed them that same respect. They felt like a lot of
Wow.
people at my level just say, "Oh, go do this," or they wouldn't treat them to a lunch or have a genuine conversation with them and get to know them personally, and essentially burn bridges with people that, like you said, you never know what comes from a connection.
Yes.
So I completely agree with you. I feel like you have to treat everybody with respect, regardless of their level. If they're above you, they're below you, they're your peers. But I'm always trying to build connections with everybody, and it's always beneficial. And making sure you treat everybody the same. I think that's critical.
Yes, absolutely, man. Yeah, I do that now. Like I work for Centos, and I sometimes go in the plant area and mess with the plant partners about like because I'm a Cowboys fan, and and a lot of the people I work in like near Philadelphia, and a lot of the people are Eagles fans, and I'm going in there talking all this noise about Eagles Cowboys, and it's just a good time. Even small stuff like that goes a long way because there have been times where I needed stuff from them and they were doing something, and because they know me, they stopped what they were doing to help me achieve my goal. And because I brought a smile to their face, whatever the case may be, man. But you got to treat people with respect, because there's a lot of brilliant people out there who maybe caught a bad break or whatever, and they have to work in a lower entry, but they have so much information, so much life experiences and things of that nature that you can always learn from. I always love learning from people and what did they do or what didn't they do to maybe get them where they are or where are they trying to go. Maybe can I extract some information from them to maybe help me in my journey, or can I give them information to help them on their journey? So you hit the nail on the head with that, bro. Now I wanna get your perspective because I was completely against paying to be in groups, to be in like a network group or whatever the case may be. Give me your thoughts on that. Are you against that? Are you for it? Like
Uh,
paying to be in a network.
I'm all for it. Like absolutely. I have so many different instances where I've paid for it, but it was well worth it.
Yeah.
So I mean, the big example I could think of off the top of my head, I'm Greek. I'm a member of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity.
Let's go.
Um,
Damn. I
yeah.
did I okay, we'll talk about that later. I did not know that. Let's continue.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Obviously, when you join undergrad, there's a fee to do so. If you want to be involved as alumni, there's like you have to maintain like pay your dues. I just became a lifetime member recently, but being a part of fraternity has opened up so many doors for me. So first and foremost, my first job out of Penn State was with JP Morgan.
Mm,
When when I was at Penn State, I set up an event on campus. Is through the fraternity. Someone that worked at JP Morgan Chase reached out to me who also happened to be in fraternity, and they
mm,
found out that I put together an event. I started asking questions. They wanted to get to know who I was. They asked me to send my resume to them. Mind you, I'd never met this person. This is just off the strength of us being in the same fraternity. But
yeah.
they found out I put together this event on campus. I sent them my resume. They edited my resume for me. They recommended that I apply for a corporate development program. They helped me interview prep for the role. And then once I received the role, they connect me with another member of my fraternity who was also moving. I moved to Delaware for the role. So now I had it wasn't like I was just moving I've never been to Delaware a day in my life. And
Yeah.
now I'm moving there. But my fraternity connected with someone who also had a role at Chase. So we're starting at the same company at the same time. And now I have a support system that we can go into the company together and we can both learn together. And then we had a support system. There were members of my fraternity based in Delaware, in New York, in Ohio, in Florida. We had regular monthly Kappa calls where I had mentors all throughout the company. So not only was the fraternity responsible for me getting my foot in the door and getting the job within JP Morgan Chase, but they helped make sure that I was successful throughout my time within the company. So I think there's a big misconception where a lot of people think about fraternities and just think, oh, these guys just they go out and have fun on campus and do this and do that.
Yeah.
We put together a lot of events on campus. We give back to the community. We look out for one another. We help each other, be successful and achieve our goals and and help out wherever we can. And I mean, there's a cost of being in a fraternity, but being a member of the fraternity has opened up so many doors for me. Similar to what you were saying with real estate, one of my fraternity brothers from my chapter, he also lives in Philly. He started up his own property management company, and he reached out to me one day and was asking, "Hey, have you ever thought about real estate? You can, get there's some the opportunities in Philly are really growing, and
Mm-hmm.
you might want to invest in a property, and you can make an investment property. You can rent it out." At the time, I have no assets. I don't own any property. And this is somebody that I knew, somebody I trust. And I said, okay, I'll take your word for it. And I jumped in. And I've had that property in Philly probably about 7, 8 years at this point. And to this day, I've never seen the property.
Wow.
He manages everyththing for me.
But you see them
But
checks coming through.
yeah, I see the checks coming through. But I mean, he presented me with an opportunity I wouldn't even have known about or even thought about. And these are the things where, like, yes, I pay money to be in a fraternity, but it reaps a lot of benefits. And the same thing, right now I work in cybersecurity. So I'm a member of an organization called Cyversity, and Cyversity is focused on bringing diversity into the cybersecurity industry.
Mhm.
And yes, I pay a fee to be a part of the organization. I've been in the cybersecurity industry for 1 year. There are a lot of things that I don't know. There are a lot of professionals that have been in this industry for 10 years. And in order for me to get up to speed, yeah, I'm willing to pay this membership fee, and I'll go to events where I can learn and stay up to date on what's going on in the industry, and I can also network and meet other professionals in the industry that can help me as well. And same as what I've said before, every connection is meaningful. You
Yeah.
never know what door may open when you have these connections. So yes, I'm willing to pay that fee to be a part of the organization. So throughout my
Wow.
career, I've joined several organizations that are industry specific, that are specific to like passions or interests or hobbies. And I'm always willing to pick people's brain and meet new people. And I think the money has been more than worth it.
Absolutely, bro. And I wanted to ask you that because I know that that was a portion in your book talking about you know, connections and different things of that nature. And me specifically, I just got over paying for, like, I'm a member of Cav Psi Fraternity Incorporated as well. However, um from that point on until maybe 2 years ago, I didn't pay to be in any group. I'm like, I'm not paying. That's stupid. I'm not doing that. But the thing about it is that being a part of I'm a part of a group called the Morning Meetup with David Shands, right? And being a part of this group is the reason that I'm doing the podcast now. The reason I'm like jumping out there, you know, screaming from the mountaintop about financial literacy, because like I've done all the things and I'm investing heavily in all these things. And I feel like everybody else needs to know that it's possible for them. But all of that is a part of me paying to be in a group. And I feel like there's a misconception that people are just trying to get your money. Now, what I will say is that if the group that you're thinking about is doesn't align with where you're trying to go, then that's not the group that you need to be a part of. Um, because I think that people just haphazardly just go join groups and, oh, that doesn't work. But does this group line up with where you're trying to go? Probably not. So you probably shouldn't be in this group. So you probably did waste your money. But hopefully you understand, like, I don't want to do that again. I'm going to, you know, mess with this group over here because it aligns with my where I'm trying to go. But I think that being a part of groups that you have to pay for is a game changer because you're around a bunch of like-minded people. They paid to be in this group. And originally for me, I was there to hear him talk about, you know, different things because you know, I was interested in the way his mind worked and business opportunities and different things like that. But then I started looking around at the people that were in the same group, and I'm like, yo, I need to connect with this person because this person has good information that's going to help me, and I can help them, and so forth and so on. So, um, being a part of a group that you have to pay for, I think is has a lot of invaluable things, and it got me out of my shell because I was an introvert a few years back, and I got to host a couple times. I got to host a call. I got to speak on a call a few times, and it just broke me out of my shell, which is why I came up with that concept of it wasn't that bad and I didn't die. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So
exactly.
I think I just wanted to make sure that I brought that up so you can speak on it, and then I can, you know, kind of add my 2 cents about it as well. Because I believe also, and I want you to talk about this too, that being a part of those groups and connecting with people can make you super wealthy. And because you're not only uh, trading opportunities, but you're giving information that's going to help you achieve your goal faster. When we were talking on the phone a couple days ago, you were telling me about having an opportunity. I think you said something about being a part of like a pre-IPO or something. Maybe I might be off on the verbiage, but you said that you were a part of that, and if you weren't connected with this person, then you would have never even known about the opportunity. Can you speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So this gets right into the power of networking and ties in with building wealth. But so two different opportunities have happened for me. One of my connections within when I lived in Seattle.
Hmm.
So it's honestly it was a friend of a friend, and then we ended up becoming very close. His name is Jeremiah. So he reached out to me. He knew of an investment opportunity with a startup that had not reached IPO yet, and he said that they were looking for investors. And in order to invest, you need to invest like there's a certain minimum threshold that you have to invest.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but if I didn't have a relationship with Jeremiah, if I didn't have regular conversations with him about what I was looking to do, how I wanted to build wealth, he wouldn't have let me know about it, or I wouldn't. There's no way I would have found out about this opportunity. And I invested in this startup at a convertible note, and it's been flourishing, it's doing well. I'm excited to see like where it turns in the future. But because I have made these connections and they know what I'm looking for, and like they're providing me with opportunities that I just normally would not be able to find. Same thing. I have one of my friends, Kofi, that I went to grad school with.
Mm-hmm.
He's into the startup realm, and he helps different startups. And he reached out to me about an opportunity where I can invest in startups as well. So same thing. I invested a bunch of money through that startup. But it's the same thing. If I didn't build a relationship with Kofi, I wouldn't know about this opportunity. And not only if I didn't have a relationship, if I didn't maintain my relationship.
Yeah.
So funny enough, I finished grad school over 10 years ago at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the connections that I have from grad school that I still talk to regularly, I just went out to lunch with a few of them. I was like, "Oh, who do you still keep in touch with?" And it's maybe a handful, maybe five people.
Yeah.
Um, one of the things that I've always been told is it's easy to make a connection, it's hard to maintain it.
Yep.
So yes, I built a relationship with Kofi when we were at grad school together. It's very easy when you're going to the same school and see the same people over and over to have that relationship. 10 plus years later, we're still close friends. And it's not as though I just reach out to him and say, "Hey, do you have any opportunities for me?" Like I genuinely just talk to him and just check him on him. How's your wife? How's the family? How's work? And we have conversations, and he knows what I'm aspiring for. I know what he's aspiring for, and we're trying to uplift and help each other. And he knew an opportunity that could help build me wealth, and he knew that's something that I was striving for, and he presented it to me. But it's because I've been able to build and maintain these relationships that have opened up the door for me to build my wealth. And that's the important piece. Like a lot of people, like we've said before, a lot of people are scared to have these conversations and to build relationships and maintain these relationships. But it will help you in your career. It will help you in your life
Yes.
where I wouldn't have properties if it wasn't for the people within my network. I wouldn't have been able to invest in startups if it wasn't for the people in my network. I probably wouldn't have the jobs I've had because people
Mm-hmm.
referred me and provided me with interview preparation and mentored me to help me get my foot in the door and be successful at different companies. So it's all about relationship building.
Yes. And I want to give your cousin Craig and our friend group Sid, Rob, Quan, um, and C's. They were the ones who kind of got me thinking differently about investing because initially for me, I was all, real estate, real estate, real estate, put the money in the bank, let the money sit, build it up, buy another property. And I was, we were just, texting back and forth one day, and I'm, like, I was looking at CNBC or something like that. And I would send them information on stocks and stuff like that. Like, yo, man, we've been doing that. I'm like, all right, well, tell me more. So they gave me the information, and then a few times they would show me their portfolio, and I'm like, bro, I'm so behind, but in a good way. I use that as motivation to say, okay, great for you. I'm rooting for you. Now I want to be there one day too. So so having conversations with them, the text messages and all the things that we were doing back and forth helped me to gain a significant amount in my trading account because of those conversations, because of those relationships, and getting out of my own way and seeing what they were doing, and trying to glean from them and extract information that's going to help me in my wealth building journey as well. So man, like these relationships are bigger and more important than you think, because at the beginning we talked about you can't really do this stuff by yourself. Like if you want to go anywhere in life, and it doesn't necessarily you want to be a millionaire or achieve wealth or whatever the case may be, but maybe you just want to live a comfortable life. But maybe the person that's standing next to you or in your friend group or your coworker or whatever is living that life that you want to live, and you may want to just talk to them like, hey, how did you do that, and just extract the information from them to give you the information so you can live that life that you want to live, man. So like this
Yeah.
conversation is so important. It's so important, for me specifically, and I feel like I could have been further if I got out of my own way and had more conversations with people, as opposed to just holding stuff close to the vest and not really, telling people. So, um,
Yeah, absolutely. Just to add to that, I mean, same thing for me. I met a specific friend group when I was in Seattle. My friend Ramil, Julian, Isaac, they were leaps and bounds ahead of me when I moved to Seattle, and they were talking about stocks, and I was just like, "Oh my God, like you guys are so far ahead of me," but it pushed me. And I was like,
yeah,
"Oh, okay. It's never too late." So I started doing my research, and I started investing a little bit more, and now I feel like my acumen is way better. And then I was talking to my friend Felix, I said, okay, I wanna learn options a little bit too. And he's like, oh well, you should go on to this app called Webull where you can play around and learn options, but it's not with your money. So you can
mm,
learn before you actually invest your money. He's like, I've lost thousands of dollars trying to learn options. You don't need to do the same pitfalls that I did. But it's having those conversations. If you don't talk to the right people to let you know, then you'll never even find out, or you never even get started. You'll never research it. You never pursue it. So it all ties into the journey of building your wealth, but you need the right people in your corner. You need to surround yourself with the right people that are driven, that are motivated, that
yeah,
are pushing each other. That's the thing I love about my friend group. Like we all push and uplift each other. And when I see one of them doing something great, it pushes me to want to do something great. And we all share advice with one another so we can all elevate.
yeah.
So it's fantastic.
Yeah, and I think one thing that we didn't necessarily touch on that I think is important also is that this networking piece applies to everything, whether you're a 9 to 5 employee or if you are an entrepreneur or full-time entrepreneur. Like getting out of your own way and talking to people about what you do, what value you can add to their lives, and then if there's somebody that you maybe look up to in your field of whatever entrepreneurship field you're in, then you can get information from them, because again they want to talk to you about what they did, and not everybody wants to charge you for mentorship. Now if they're a reputable person and their merits in warrant them charging you for it, and you can afford it, then pay it. But if not, there are many people out there that want to mentor you and don't want anything from you. They just want to give you the information. So I think that's an important piece as well, in the entrepreneurial space, and just talking to people. Period. Just getting out of your own way. And I think, uh, and I'm going to speak for myself, like black people specifically, or black and brown people. Um, Sometimes feel like I can just do it on my own. I don't want to talk to people because they feel like somebody's going to make fun of their dreams, somebody's going to make fun of their hopes. It doesn't matter. Like you just got to really just put yourself out there to the right people and let them know what your dreams are, because that person may not be able to help you, but maybe they're connected to somebody who can help you. So we have to put ourselves out there and talk to different people, people who look like us, people who don't look like us, people who have more information than we have. Just get out of your own way, because it's not that bad, and you won't die as a result of you having a conversation or getting out of your shell to talk to somebody. And it took me a long time to figure that out, man. And on this podcast, we're giving people information that's going to help them reach their goals faster. And if you can get out of your way in your 20s, then you're gonna be super up when you're 40. I'm 44. You're gonna be super up. So start now. So Mike, so thank you so much for being on here. Um, like you said earlier, you wrote a book. Where can they get the book? That's the question number one. And then I want to know three reasons why they want to grab this book from you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So the paperback version of the book is available on Amazon. The ebook is available on Amazon. It's available on all platforms for the ebook as well, Barnes and Noble, any platforms that you particularly use. The audiobook will be available on all channels within the next month or so.
Okay.
I'd say three reasons that you want to get the book. As I said, I have a ton of tips, recommendations, advice, not only on how to build your network, how to maintain your network, and the benefits of doing so. I share a lot of my personal stories. I try to be as authentic as possible. So not only am I giving advice, but I'm showing you how it has helped me in my professional career and my personal life. It's helped me navigate my career. It's helped me build wealth. It's helped me move around to different cities, different states, and I've been able to successfully navigate in different places that I've lived because I had a network and a support system to assist me everywhere I've lived. I would say, secondly, the book gets into a lot of workplace challenges and how to navigate them. Uh, Being in corporate is not easy. There are a lot of
Mm,
things you have to do that are outside of your comfort zone,
yes.
networking being one of them. But there's a lot of tips and advice from how to navigate meetings, how to deal with disagreements in the workplace, how to influence. You can have great ideas, recommendations. If you can't properly present them in a way to convince other people that that's the right path to take, then your ideas aren't going to move forward. So
Yeah.
I just have a lot of tips to help people be successful in the role, to excel in their career. And I would say third, last but not least, um, just I get into just a lot of gratefulness and being appreciative of what you have in combination with wanting more. So I talk to a lot of people that that just aren't happy. They're not happy with their job. They're not happy with the school they went to. And you have to understand everything happens for a reason. Make the best of your situation. There are a lot of people who wish to be in your shoes.
Hmm.
Be grateful for what you have. It's still good to strive for more. And I go into details of setting goals and how to hold yourself accountable for your goals, how to leverage your network to help push you and support you to achieve your goals. But I think it's very important, one, to just be grateful for what you have, and then two, striving for more and celebrating those wins, big wins, small wins. Like you said, you talked about this earlier in the podcast, like every little increment helps. And if you're
Yes.
making small increments and improvements over time every day, imagine where you'll be 1 year from now. Imagine where you'll be 5 years, 10 years. It's all about progress. Life is a journey. Wealth is a journey. And you have to understand that these things take time. This isn't going to happen overnight. I think a
Yes.
lot of people think they're just going to go to the store and buy a lottery ticket and then, oh, I'm a millionaire and I'm good for life. And that's not how it works.
Mm-mm.
It's a process. It takes time. Enjoy the process. It takes steps. But if you put the right work in, you will see the results over time.
That's awesome, man. Ibra, I just like the last 3 minutes of what you just said. I just had a conversation with a friend of mine today about like the conversation was how do you keep going when you're on your wealth building journey? And I talked about like having um being grateful for where you came from and the steps that you took to get there, and you need evidence that your process and your journey is working. So look at those little small wins that you're getting and understand that you're one step closer to where you want to be. And you need that evidence. So don't just celebrate the large wins, Celebrate the small wins as well. And that's something that I'm working on personally, because I'm the go, 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 what's next, what's next, what's next. And you have to slow down and realize where you came from, because you'll end up burning yourself out, and then you'll be in a space of ungratefulness, because you'll feel like you're not where you want to be as fast as you want to be, and all the things. But like, there's beauty in the journey. Like, there's beauty in the process. Like, what lessons am I learning from being in this journey, on this process? So, Mike, man, you hit the nail right on the head, bro. Like, and then to find out you a Kappa too, like, fan, dude, this is great, bro. This is great.
I know.
Shout out to my man Craig, man. Shout out to you, bro, for making this connection,
Exactly.
man.
I wouldn't be on this podcast if it wasn't for Craig. So yes, shout out to Craig. Another example of the power of networking and the doors and opportunities that come from it. So
Absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, thank you so much for being on the platform. I will definitely have you back to talk about your second, third, and fourth book, your speaking engagements, all the things that you're doing out here, because you're doing a great work talking about this, because this is something that again needs to be discussed, and not just discussed and read, needs to be applied, so we can live the life that we want to live. But again, thank you for being on here. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully it helps somebody get over their fears of networking. Wealth is a journey. We will see you next week. Thank you for tuning in.